From day one, you've been told a story that doesn't match reality. Be patient. Be kind. Play by the rules. Wait your turn. Look around. Who's actually winning? Is it the patient ones? The ones who wait for permission? The ones who never step on toes? Or is it the ones who take action? The ones who make their own rules? The ones who don't ask, "Can I?" but say, "I will"? Every time you hold back to be good, you give away your power. Every time you wait your turn, someone else takes your spot. Every time you stay quiet to be polite, your voice gets forgotten. This isn't about being mean. It's about being real. The world rewards those who take control, not those who wait to be picked. History remembers those who changed the game, not those who played it perfectly. You don't need to be loud or cruel. You need to be deliberate. You need to stop asking for a seat at the table and start building your own table. The difference between getting what you want and watching others get it comes down to this. Are you playing to win or playing not to lose? From today, stop hoping for power. Start taking it. Power doesn't always speak loudly. Sometimes it doesn't speak at all. Think about the people you respect most. Do they fill every silence? Do they share every thought? Or do they choose their moments carefully? When everyone else is talking, the quiet person becomes interesting. When everyone rushes to answer, the one who pauses gets noticed. Your silence creates space that others feel compelled to fill, often revealing exactly what you need to know. Most people think power comes from being heard. Real power comes from listening and watching, from knowing more than you show. Don't mistake silence for weakness. It's a tool. Use it to make others wonder what you're thinking. Let people talk themselves into corners. Create curiosity about your next move. Make your words count when you finally speak. Remember, words given freely lose value. Every time you overshare, over-explain, or rush to speak, you give away pieces of your power. The person who needs to be heard is controlled by that need. The person who can remain quiet holds the advantage. Practice being comfortable with silence. When others get nervous and start talking, you'll see opportunities they miss while they're busy making noise. True strength isn't measured by how much you say, but by how much weight your words carry when you choose to use them. The line between success and failure isn't drawn by talent or luck. It's drawn by those willing to step beyond comfortable certainty. Every person who ever changed their life had one thing in common. They took risks when others played it safe. They jumped when others froze. But not just any risks, calculated ones. Most people avoid risk because they think safety equals survival. But too much safety is its own danger. While you hide from failure, opportunity passes you by. While you protect yourself from criticism, others earn respect through action. The truth is simple. Nothing worth having comes without risk. Not respect, not success, not freedom, not power. Think about it. Every time you avoid speaking up, making a decision, or taking a chance, you're not actually staying safe. You're just choosing the risk of regret over the risk of rejection. The most powerful people aren't reckless, but they understand that playing it small has its own high cost. They weigh their options, consider the worst outcomes, then move forward anyway, knowing that even failure teaches lessons that safety never could. Start asking yourself, what's the real risk here? Not taking action or taking it? When you shift from avoiding risk to managing it wisely, you step into a different kind of power, one that turns challenges into stepping stones instead of roadblocks. The world doesn't reward those who never fall. It rewards those who fall, learn, and rise stronger than before. In a world that demands your attention from every angle, true power emerges from what you choose to ignore. Most people scatter their energy across countless priorities, relationships, and pursuits. They respond to every notification, attend every meeting, and say yes to every request. What they fail to realize is that this constant availability diminishes their perceived value. Consider how the most influential individuals operate. They maintain boundaries not out of arrogance, but from a deep understanding that their attention is their most precious resource. They recognize that accessibility and impact exist in inverse relationship to one another. When you become selective about where you direct your focus, several transformations occur. Your time becomes respected rather than assumed. Your words carry greater weight when carefully chosen. Your presence becomes a meaningful event rather than a constant backdrop. This isn't about isolation or indifference. It's about intentional engagement that honors your core priorities while eliminating distractions. It's understanding that saying no to what doesn't serve your purpose is saying yes to what does. The disciplined focus of your attention becomes a form of self-respect that others inherently recognize. When you refuse to dilute your energy across meaningless obligations, you communicate something profound. You value yourself enough to protect your resources. Remember this truth: your capacity for impact directly correlates with your ability to maintain boundaries around your time, attention, and emotional investment. The most powerful individuals aren't those who attempt everything, but those who excel at what truly matters by declining what doesn't. When all is said and done, what remains isn't what you accumulated or how you were perceived. It's the mark you made by your deliberate choices. Most drift through existence reacting to circumstances, becoming echoes of their environment rather than architects of their reality. They measure success by comparison rather than conviction, finding comfort in meeting expectations rather than defining them. True impact requires a fundamental shift in perspective, from seeking approval to pursuing meaningful consequence. This isn't about fame or recognition. These are merely shadows of genuine influence. It's about creating ripples that continue long after you've left the room. Consider how you're investing your limited time and energy. Are you dispersing your potential across fleeting concerns, or concentrating it where your unique capabilities can create lasting change? Are you speaking to be heard momentarily, or acting to be remembered meaningfully? The most profound personal power comes not from controlling others, but from mastering yourself, your reactions, your attention, your commitments. When you operate from this centered sovereignty, you naturally draw others into your orbit not through demand, but through gravity. Remember that history rarely recalls those who merely fit in perfectly. It remembers those who stood apart deliberately, not from ego or rebellion, but from the quiet confidence that comes from living according to self-defined principles rather than external validation. Your legacy isn't written in praise or criticism, but in the tangible difference your existence makes. When you release the need for immediate acknowledgement and focus instead on substantive contribution, you tap into a form of power that transcends temporary influence. This is the ultimate expression of personal power. Not domination, but deliberate impact that continues to resonate long after your immediate presence has passed. Most people approach relationships backward. They give freely, trust quickly, and hope their generosity will be returned. They network aimlessly, collecting contacts without purpose. This isn't how power works. Every relationship is an exchange of value. The question isn't, do they like me? But what can we create together? Not, how can I please them? But how do our interests align? Powerful people understand that meaningful connections aren't about quantity, but strategic quality. They cultivate relationships with deliberate intention, not through manipulation, but through clarity of purpose. Consider who truly advances your goals versus who simply takes your time, who challenges you to grow versus who makes you comfortable in mediocrity, who brings opportunities versus who brings complications. The truth most won't admit: your 5 closest relationships predict your future. Your network isn't just connections, it's your ecosystem for growth or limitation. This means making hard choices. It means sometimes walking away from comfortable but stagnant relationships. It means investing deeply in fewer, more significant connections rather than maintaining dozens of superficial ones. The most influential people aren't necessarily the most likable. They're the most respected, and respect comes from consistency, boundaries, and mutual benefit, not from endless accommodation. Start evaluating your relationships not by how safe they feel, but by how they position you for growth. Not by how much someone needs you, but by how you elevate each other. Remember, time spent with those who drain your energy or dilute your focus isn't generosity. It's poor stewardship of your potential. Choose wisely who gets access to your most valuable resource, your presence. In a world overflowing with talent, credentials, and hard work, something more fundamental determines who rises and who remains invisible: perceived value. This isn't about deception. It's about understanding a crucial truth. Your actual capabilities matter less than how others perceive what you bring to the table. Every day, people with average skills but masterful presentation outperform brilliant individuals who fail to communicate their worth. Every day, products of moderate quality with exceptional positioning outsell superior offerings with poor packaging. This isn't fair, but it's real. Most people make the critical mistake of believing that quality speaks for itself, that if they simply work harder and know more, recognition will naturally follow. They focus entirely on developing skills while neglecting how those skills are perceived. The truth is uncomfortable but liberating. Perception creates the reality that others respond to. This doesn't mean abandoning substance. It means understanding that substance without strategic presentation remains hidden potential. It means recognizing that how you frame your contributions directly impacts their received value. Consider how you're currently positioning your skills, ideas, and presence. Are you highlighting what matters most to those you wish to influence? Are you translating your value into terms that resonate with their priorities? Or are you hoping they'll do the work of discovering why you matter? The most powerful individuals don't just deliver value, they ensure that value is recognized. They understand their audience deeply enough to communicate in terms that register as meaningful. They create contexts where their strengths become most visible and valuable. Start thinking about how you're being perceived, not just what you're producing. Position yourself not where you feel comfortable, but where your specific strengths create maximum impact. Remember, in a world of infinite options, perceived value determines who gets chosen, regardless of who deserves it. Everyone knows that timing matters. Few understand how to control it. Most people operate on someone else's schedule, responding when prompted, acting when expected, launching when others say the moment is right. They follow the crowd's rhythm and wonder why they remain part of the crowd. True power comes not just from what you do, but when you choose to do it. Think about it. The same action taken at different moments produces radically different results. The same words spoken too early fall on deaf ears. Too late, they become irrelevant. The right move at the wrong time becomes the wrong move. The most influential people aren't always the quickest to act. They're the most precise in their timing. They understand when to accelerate when others hesitate, wait when others rush, speak when attention is highest, withdraw when clutter dominates. This precision comes from observing patterns others miss, from understanding that every environment has its own unique rhythm. Markets, relationships, opportunities, all move in cycles that can be anticipated. While others react to what's happening now, the strategically powerful position themselves for what's coming next. They recognize when momentum is building invisibly. They sense when fatigue is setting in behind apparent strength. Start studying the timing patterns in your environment. When do people make decisions versus when do they implement them? When are they most receptive to new ideas versus most committed to existing ones? When does resistance naturally decrease? Develop the discipline to act based on strategic timing rather than immediate impulse. Sometimes this means holding back when every instinct screams for action. Other times, it means moving decisively when others see no urgency. Remember, those who master timing don't just capitalize on opportunities. They create them by understanding when the conditions for success are optimal rather than merely acceptable. In a world paralyzed by overthinking, true power emerges from those who commit fully to their decisions. Most people live in the murky middle, testing waters without diving in, starting projects without completing them, making half promises they might keep. They mistake contemplation for progress and planning for achievement. They remain perpetually ready but never engaged. This constant hesitation isn't caution, it's surrender. Look at any person of genuine influence. Their path wasn't perfect, but it was decisive. They didn't eliminate uncertainty. They acted despite it. They understood a fundamental truth. Imperfect action outperforms perfect hesitation every single time. What separates those who influence from those who wish to influence isn't intelligence, connections, or even skills. It's their relationship with commitment. The former understand that power accumulates through completed cycles of decision and action, not through endless analysis. Every time you delay a decision until you have perfect information, you surrender control to circumstances. Every time you start something without fully committing resources, mental, emotional, financial, you signal to yourself and others that you don't truly believe in the outcome. The most powerful don't necessarily make better decisions. They make decisions better. They decide cleanly, commit completely, and adjust as needed without second guessing. They understand that decisiveness itself becomes a form of authority that attracts opportunities, resources, and allies. This isn't about recklessness. It's about recognizing that the cost of indecision compounds silently, while the cost of wrong decisions reveals itself immediately. It's understanding that momentum itself solves problems that contemplation cannot. Start evaluating yourself not by how many options you keep open, but by how effectively you close them through decisive action. Not by how much you consider, but by how completely you commit once you've chosen your direction. Remember, in the end, your impact won't be measured by what you contemplated doing or what you could have achieved. It will be determined by what you actually set in motion through the authority of your decisive action.